Hello, everybody. Let's have a mystical conversation, the kind where we lose ourselves in the wonders of divine mysteries, share dreams from the other side, intuitive nudgings, and soul mission yearnings. I'm Rev Sue Frederick, a Unity minister, master numerologist, and author of several books including the Angel Up book series, Angels and Numbers, the Sacred Language of Divine Guidance. These are all available on Amazon to help you find your purpose and receive angelic guidance along the way. Our guests today for this mystical conversation are Christine Scott and Amber Briscoe. You all know Amber's a big part of helping parents heal. She's a friend of mine. I've had her on here before, but let me explain who they are for this conversation today. Christine Scott is a storyteller, strategist, and documentary filmmaker exploring the profound question of whether connection with loved ones can continue after death. She's inspired by the loss of her brother at a young age and her own lifelong intuitive experiences of seeing spirit. She's developing a documentary that examines how these connections may offer hope and healing to grieving parents. Christine is also the founder of the Accomplice Project, a strategic consultancy based in Toronto, where she helps organizations create meaningful impact through thoughtful storytelling and inclusive design. Amber Briscoe, my longtime friend, is an award-winning producer, director, author, and speaker whose work explores grief, after-death communication, and the enduring bond between parents and their children. After the unexpected death of her beautiful 18-year-old son, Jagger, Amber's life took an unexpected turn as extraordinary experiences challenged everything she thought she knew about death. Drawing on more than 30 years of experience producing television and live experiences, Amber is now producing and directing Tragic to Magic, a documentary that follows three mothers as they navigate unimaginable loss of their children while discovering hope through continuing connection. She is also the author of Signs 101, a gentle guide for parents connecting with children across the veil. Please welcome Amber and Christine. All right, so the two of you met way back in 2013. I would love to hear that story.
It's funny when you say 2013, I feel like that is not enough time. I feel like Amber and I have known each other for so long. And it was one of those moments of kismet when we met. We met first on the phone because this was 2013. This is before Zoom calls were really common in business. And we met on a phone call. My agency, the New York office, had hired Amber's agency to work on this really large project where we were, which is always going to sound so strange, we were building an Olympic-sized swimming pool in Herald Square in New York, and we couldn't think of anyone to pull it off. And we heard about Amber's company, and they said, "Well, Christine, you're a great producer. You should work with a great producer." And instantly, I mean, within 5 seconds of being on the phone together, Amber and I had sort of joined forces and we're making fun of everyone else on the call. So, and I mean, it was instant chemistry, instant love, instant friendship, and it
And
has
that's a
stayed
sign
with
of a
us
soul agreement. We know. Yeah.
100%.
You all have known each other through time and space, as now I guess I have too, because I've always loved Amber, and Amber and I go back to what, 2014, Amber?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Christine, I'd really like to go back to the impact or the experience that got you launched on this spiritual truth path of your brother crossing when he was 18. How old were you? Will you share that story?
Sure. I was in my late 20s. My brother was a little bit younger than me. My parents had my older brother and myself, and then purposefully put some space between us with hopes of having two more. And when my little brother Mark was born, he suffered some trauma during birth and ended up having cerebral palsy. Um, he he was the loveliest, kindest, most joyful person I had ever met in my life. He was 100% my best friend. And my parents lived in England at the time, and he was ill and couldn't speak for himself, and his doctor misdiagnosed him. He had pneumonia and just sort of said to my parents, he's fine. Just leave, like, just have him rest at home. And he ended up dying in my mother's arms in her bed. And, um, you know, to say that this happened 26 years ago, that I'm still devastated by that, is a fair statement. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that when he passed, my parents took up so much space with their grief that listen, and as a parent now, I can't imagine not taking up all the space, but I did feel very left behind.
Yeah. And you were
Yeah.
in Saturn return, it sounds like, if you were in your late 20s. So that was a big wake-up call for your soul. Was there an awareness of his spirit that you experienced?
So this is a really interesting question. And it's interesting because this is a conversation Amber and I had about 2 weeks ago.
Ah.
So because my brother was so severely disabled, the sort of feeling and person and spirit that I keep waiting to connect with and have waited to connect with all these years is the version that I knew of him when he was with us.
Mm.
And Amber and I were talking about how when we leave this earth, our soul is no longer restricted by illness or disability or what have you. And I realized this whole time I'd likely been ignoring him.
Yeah.
It wasn't him. Um, Amber and knows this very well, but I've actually been able to have interactions with spirits since I was a very young girl. And so having interactions and feeling people's presence is not something that I am unaccustomed to. But I realize I probably have been ignoring Mark for the last 20
You know,
some
I
odd
love
years.
that so much because that is what our human mind does. It holds that person in the same frequency and body and everything that we saw them as on Earth. But the great, amazing, mystical truth is that the minute the soul leaves, we're being reunited with our own higher soul, which is always in perfect health. You probably don't even recognize him when he
I
shows
know.
up in your bedroom at night to make you laugh. So, have you shifted your I know what you need to do is go and have a little talk with him in your
Yeah.
meditation and say, please come to me in a way that I recognize you now and show me who you are. And I can't wait to hear what happens then.
Well, I will. That's great advice. And that was something I was going to ask you on the call today. So thank you for volunteering that information. But the evening of that conversation with Amber, he did come to me in a dream.
Ah,
Um, and it was very, I mean, it was very moving, but I haven't heard from him since. So I, I think I should go back and ask him
that's so
to make
great.
himself
Now,
more
Amber,
known.
I can't let you sit there without speaking. I love
I'm
you
good.
so
I'm good.
much. So, as we all know, Amber's beautiful son, Jagger, crossed in, was it 2020? I can't remember.
2020. Mhm.
2020. And it turns out, Christine, that you knew Jagger before he crossed, right? And so, how has this signs and synchronicities and divine guidance thing with Jagger unfolded for you as we know it has with Amber?
Well, in many ways, Jagger made himself known to me after he passed within a few days. Always prompts, I mean, feeling his physical presence in front of me, coming through, flicking lights in my family room. Always at the precise moment. As soon as that has happened, I pick up the phone and call Amber. And in those early days, it was always at the precise moment where Amber was like, "I'm so glad you called. I was just thinking about you." And I was like, I know, Jagger." Jagger was like, "Yo, oh, my
Jagger
mom."
is, I think he's one of the most powerful spirits I've ever interacted with. He will just come and show up in my bedroom, and then I'll know, oh, I need to call Amber. Something's going on with Amber.
Yeah.
Jagger is like your social connector. I mean, Jagger is like your social connector, Amber.
He is, and those early days for me, like I wasn't even aware of it right away. I had to have people point out to me, "Are you noticing this stuff that's going on?" Because as a single mom, like after Jagger passed, I was alone, so I had family and friends staying with me to make sure I was okay. So yeah, it took me a while to notice, but um, he will come through in dreams and things, and I won't realize the significance until a day or two later. Yeah, he's incredible.
So then, when you guys came together and you're connecting with Jagger and having these experiences and you're still working professionally, tell us how it evolved to the idea that you're making this tragic to magic documentary, and what is that looking like?
Well, for me, it was, we talk about sometimes traumatic grief, child loss, it can change who you are fundamentally, and it can make things, your old life, feel like shoes that don't fit anymore. And so for me, I was working in advertising, and it was just increasingly becoming like there's got to be something more than this, and if you're not moving the needle towards being of service to your fellows, what are you doing?
Right. And
And
that's the gift of grief, right? It clarifies what's important in life. And you literally can't
absolutely.
spend a minute anymore doing the non-essential things.
Oh, of course. And, I did this last big advertising job, and it was sort of celebrating wealth at a time like luxurious wealth. And it just felt so misaligned with who I am now. And it was the day I was driving away from that project. I was on the phone with one of my mamas, Sarah Olson, and we were talking about documentaries. And I just said, we should do a documentary. And I got what I can only describe as a download. And I got home and I rolled up my sleeves and I wrote a treatment for it. I sent it to Christine and I think I said, this is fire.
And Christine, what was your take on that in the beginning?
I mean, because I've worked with Amber and become one of her best friends, one thing I know is Amber is incredibly creative and has great ideas. And so when she said, "This is fire," I immediately opened it up to read it. Two things. One, I did think it was fire. And two, and I think equally important, I thought to myself, whatever Amber wants to do on this path and her journey, I am here to support her. So if she had said, "I want to do a live action comedy starring bats," I would have been like, "Okay, let's get some
Our
bats."
next project.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, if I let the cat out of the bag.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
and I mean, and Amber has been.
you two are quite the production creative team. I love it so much. Amber, have you done her numbers? Because we know you are an 11 Master Soul, Amber. Do you know what Christine is?
I did a reading for her early on, and I want to say she's a hardworking four path, if I remember
I would
correctly.
imagine that. I really would.
And her partner is too, and the two of them together
Yeah.
are an eight, and he works really hard and she works really hard, and
Yeah.
they are a power couple. They really are.
I love that so much. 11s and 22s get along so great because our soul agreement is the number 33. Can't get better than that. So that's why my friendship with Amber has always been so effortless. And now with you, part of the picture here, and we get things done. That's what happens in this soul agreement here. So, getting things done, where does this series stand at the moment? And also, you're going to be filming at the upcoming Helping Parents Heal conference. So, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So there have been a series of just, I mean, there are no coincidences, but Jagger and Elijah and McKellar, the boys that we're focusing on in the series, they have guided this at every turn. And, we have an agent. The agent has been out, looking for funding for us and also working on a distribution deal. And we, we had a meeting with someone to fund just the portion of the shoot for the conference. And that night, I was kind of alluding to this. I dreamt the night before that call, I dreamt that I was out with Jagger. He was about 12. We were at an outdoor festival, and everybody that walked past, he would do like finger guns and do a little dance off with them. And after a while, there were a great many people that he'd done this little dance off. And I said, "Hey, Jagger, who won?" And he said, "We all won." And that day, we got this first part funded. And I forgot about it till later that night. I'm like, "Oh my God, we all won. We all won."
I have chills.
So we are busy putting together the right crew and looking at story structure. We're actually in talks with the beautiful Elizabeth Boisson and Irene Vuvalitis, and we both come from event world, so we're very sensitive to what this is all about and being what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, being sensitive to the situation, to new parents who are
Right,
coming,
right.
but also telling this compelling story because Sue, you've been there. You know the emotional impact. It is joyful. It is magical. There are people who are still, gobsmacked in early grief, just like, and you can feel,
The
it's,
energy.
yeah. So we're so excited. We are so excited to go, but there's a lot of preparation.
But the other thing we know is going to be true is that the kids, Jagger especially, they're going to guide this and make it
Yeah.
happen because at the conference, what really happens is those children in spirit are making connections happen that are astounding. Like I'll be walking down a hallway and I kind of bump into somebody and they're telling me their story and I'm like, "Oh my God, there's a reason we're connected." And it just has this whole chain effect of, going way back 20 years, I crossed your path and blah, blah, blah. And the children want us to come together and realize that there's no death of the soul, of the spirit, and that we simply have to lift our frequency a little bit to be more aware of the beautiful spirit world that is our reason to be here is to finish our mission, connect with them, dance with them while we're here, and live with our focus on that higher realm rather than that obsessive focus on the physical world that the human self wants to have.
I think anyone you talk to who's attended will have a magical story to share. You know, for me, the conference comes up every 2 years, right around Jagger's Angel Day, and in 2024, I was there actually on his Angel Day. Three different people came up randomly and gave me heart-shaped rocks, which is a thing that Jagger and
Jagger.
I would always look for. And it's just. I can't even say enough. I'm humbled, I'm excited and grateful.
And 2022 HPH conference was when I met you in person for the first time. I'll never forget it. We'd worked on Zoom, done sessions, but I was there teaching a numerology class at the Helping Parents Heal conference, and Amber comes up and goes, "I'm Amber Briscoe." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And so we got to hug for the first time. And you have these extraordinary connections there because it's all guided by spirit. So you're going to have a profound meeting with your brother, Christine, at this conference.
I am really looking forward to that. And the other funny thing is, I'm a hyper planner, as is Amber, which is one of the things that we've always worked really well together with. For some reason, with the shoot planning for the conference, my instinct is I'm a little bit easygoing about it. And I think it's because I have a feeling when we get there, all the planning we're going to do, some of it's going to get tossed out the window and we're going to get pulled in different directions and it's going to be the right direction.
That's
And that's
exactly
not, yeah.
right.
And that's not just my excuse, Amber, for why I'm not getting back to you on
Look
some
at
of those.
Christine talking like we talk, Amber.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, I feel, and it's funny because I did listen to the podcast with Irene and you were both talking about how the kids are making this happen. And I have not doubted it at all. Amy Cox, McKellar's mom, after every meeting we've had, she'll call me and she'll say, "Yeah, I went out hiking and I came up over a ridge and there were $3 with no does, just $3." Or,
The three
um,
boys.
I went out this morning and there were three male cardinals on the bush outside my,
And
can't make it up.
let's explain that this Tragic to Magic documentary follows Amber and two other moms who have children in spirit, all boys, all around the same age. And so as those boys have helped put the pieces together of this documentary, they keep showing up with signs of the three of them. $3 is the greatest sign ever for three boys.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mark starts showing up and now it's $4.
Right,
It's
right.
all it's all happening.
That's right. Oh, the spirit world is so rich and so filled with love. And when we can lift into it, it just heals us and brings us to so much more joy. Are there any recent signs from either of you that you'd like to share?
Hmm.
Well, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, that dream was a big one, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a oh my God one, but those are
Let me
really
give you an oh my God one I just had, and that'll spark your memory.
okay.
So, I'm getting this red light treatment for my eyes because I've got macular degeneration and there's no cure according to the traditional eye doctor world. And there's a new treatment on the horizon that is actually FDA approved, but not accepted by mainstream of red light therapy to improve vision. So I have gone through so much eye testing and stuff and cataract surgery and lasers or all these things in the last 6 months. Finally, I get to go see this red light doctor and get my first treatment. But my body by this point is triggered by people coming at me with drops and lasers. So they're putting me in front of this machine for my first treatment, and I'm feeling my heart race for no reason because I know it's not going to hurt me. It's just like trauma stuff. And all of a sudden, this song comes on because the technician had a radio thing in the background. And there's a song that has meant so much to me since the early 70s called Sarah Smile. And when I say it meant so much, I was a kid, a hippie in my 20s, riding on a city bus in Columbia, Missouri, and this beautiful bus driver puts his radio on and it starts playing Sarah Smile, and he's singing this gorgeous baritone voice, Sarah Smile, and dancing while he drives us. So I started singing. Some other people in the bus were singing with him. And it was a transcendent moment that I've never forgotten, right? And then 20 something years later, I'm unable to have a child. And all of a sudden, I have a dream, and a little girl comes to me and says, "I'm going to be your child, and I'm a girl, and my name is Sarah." And then I find out I'm miraculously pregnant, and today my Sarah is 32. But when I'm sitting in this red light session, all of a sudden she turns on the radio and that's the song. I almost started crying, and I'm not allowed to cry while I have to keep my eyes open, but I had covered in chills, and it was Jeff, the man I loved at that time, who's now in spirit. It was my dad. It was so many spirits in that room going, "This is perfect. You don't need to worry. We're with you." And that song was coming in over the airwaves, and all my fear was gone. That is how beautifully spirit works for us.
That is beautiful. And I can't wait to meet Sarah. But you did. It did remind me of a huge one that just happened that involves Christine, actually.
Tell me.
So I lost a friend about, I don't know, was it like a month ago?
Yeah.
Unexpectedly, a friend from back home. I was really, really sad. I got to see him shortly before I left to come out to Arizona, shortly before I left New York. And I was so blue. And I asked Jagger, Jagger and Pete, can you give me a sign that Pete's okay? And I said, you know what, make it a hot pepper. Because he had done this early during the pandemic. He had done this live stream of himself eating these super hot Carolina Reaper peppers.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was just to entertain his friends. It was really funny. And so I didn't just get one hot pepper. Christine, you want to tell the rest?
So for some reason, I was going through my phone. Oh, I know. So my mom is African, but my dad is ginger. And so
Oh, that's
Amber,
a great mixture.
I mean, it's pretty hilarious. But Amber's only known my dad since he's gone gray. So I told Amber that. She's like, how did I not know that? And I said, I have a photo of him on my phone. I'm going to send it to you. But while I was flicking through my phone, I saw a picture of my grandfather, my African grandfather, who had this is a photo from about 1986. He was standing in our front garden holding a plate of red peppers that we had just harvested from our backyard.
Filled, like overflowing with
Filled.
red peppers.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
and I just don't ask me why, because I was searching for a ginger-haired man, and instead I sent her a little black guy with a plate full of peppers
I
that I thought,
said, by any
yeah.
chance are these hot peppers?
And I'm
Oh,
like, yeah.
yeah, yeah. He just picked them. She had no idea.
Oh my
And
God.
it was Jagger and Pete saying, not only is he okay, he's great,
Right.
Yeah. And we met this guy here, this little black guy, and he wants to say hi as well.
That's so great. Oh, I tell you, once you become trusting of the signs, and that's what we all have to choose, that's our free will. Our free will can say, ah, this is a bunch of malarkey, these are coincidences. Or our free will can say, I choose to believe that these signs are from spirit. Once we make that shift, everything changes in our life. And I think that's what you're doing with Tragic to Magic. You're helping the viewer shift from cynical, tragic viewpoint to, and what if I could believe that this is real? How would that change my life? And that's the beauty of the documentary. So, in your big dreams, when do you believe that this documentary will be complete?
I think we're targeting right now fall of 27, but we are full speed ahead. And it's funny just talking about trusting spirit. This is probably the only project in my life that I have ever 1,000,000% thought it is going to happen one way or the other. If I show up and have to film it on my iPhone, it will happen. And the kids are making it happen. And, I'm so excited to share it with other parents. I'm excited to be that storytelling presence on site at Wild Horse Pass. It's just like, it is in a way a dream come true, which is such a strange thing to say when you think of what got me here. It's a strange thing in this culture to
Well,
think like, oh, I'm really excited to do this film since my son died. That's not the story, though.
but Amber, we know that it's a soul agreement you made with Jagger long ago before the life began, and Christine, you made with your brother long ago before the life began, that they wanted to cross early because they'd be done. They were highly evolved, accelerated souls, and who wants to stay here longer than we have to? Nobody. And so when they got to leave the body, they were so happy, but they're with both of you going, okay, let me help you fulfill the great mission that was part of our agreement, that you would help others realize there is no death. So you're both hard at work at the task that is formed in the soul agreement you made with your beloveds who are now in spirit. So you're making them so proud. And of course, they're helping you every step of the way.
Well, there's been during every step of this process, I've had such extreme confidence in it. I think one of the roles I've played in our partnership is a bit of a steady hand. Amber will obviously be concerned about a component, and for some reason, I'm just okay with it. And I'm not just saying that to make sure she feels good. I honestly believe it's going to be okay. If that doesn't work, it's okay. We'll figure it out another
And
way.
Amber is an 11 master soul. 11s are so sensitive and intuitive, and that can make them feel more than the rest of us feel, but that's their gift. That's your gift, Amber. And those moments where we just feel like, I don't know why I'm here anymore, that's the sensitive, intuitive, evolved part of our soul looking for heaven. But Amber has people like you and me, Christine, these grounded 22/4 people who can say, just keep doing that work.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I
I
will say,
I always perseverate over the details. It's just in my DNA. Sorry,
I
go ahead.
know.
well, I was going to say, but I will say Amber has served that role for me as well. I mean, we worked together, but about 5 years ago, I stepped away from the profession of advertising and marketing for the exact same reason. I just thought to myself, it was shortly after George Floyd was murdered, and I thought to myself, I just can't have my life be about selling mattresses. This is completely inconsequential to the world and the universe and people around us. And so it was directly related to a conversation Amber had with me where she was in that moment, grounding and giving me the confidence to step away and
I
be
just
more creative.
I just had a vision. I got to share it of the two of you.
Please.
That in the future, after Tragic to Magic is out, you are producing other people's films about this topic, and you're very successful at it. Okay, I'll just throw that out there. You can
Well,
take it
I
or leave
I
it.
need to say that the conversation I had with Christine really was a concept that originated with you, Sue Frederick. It was something I quoted you on 12 years ago about making choices based on fear and financial insecurity and how that will never serve you. And it's not until you let those shackles off you can run free in your real purpose. And I learned that from you.
And we all have to walk through that in our own time and through our own fire of hardships. And it's a leap of faith, and I've watched you make that leap, Amber, and it's a tough leap. And I had to make it to step up to my work also. I was a single mom and I had been a health writer at a big websites and all of that in the dot-com crash of 1999. That all ended, and I was a single mom with a 4-year-old daughter and a mortgage to pay, and no one helping me. And I had to make the leap of faith. But Spirit said to me, how long are you going to waste your time doing what the world thinks you should do and instead step up to your intuitive numerology gifts that you've been given away for free? And when we shift and go, well, what is it that I would do day and night, even if nobody paid me, if it was just my passion? Now we're beginning to ask the right questions and step into our soul's mission. So you guys are going to be phenomenally successful.
Well, as you know, I have a recording of my first session with you from 2014, 6 years before Jagger passed. And you said that I would be telling meaningful stories, that I would be making documentaries. This was years after I had left the TV world and the documentary world. I was working in advertising and I was like, what is she talking about?
I know.
And you even said, and I only discovered this 2 days ago because I got the transcript of that whole reading. And you said, oh, yeah, you'll be interviewing Dean Radin. I didn't know, it didn't stick because I didn't know who Dean Radin was. Guess what? Dean Radin is in the first teaser that we cut. I absolutely met him
Yeah.
through Dr. Kim Penberthy. It's you can't make it up.
And
You
also
can't.
this is not about me. It's about when we tap into spirit, which I've learned to do in my readings, stuff comes through and you just got to say it, you know? And then later you just go, I don't even know why I said that. It sounds illogical, but I just had to say it. It was coming in. And that's always the stuff that people come back and go, "Oh my God, you said this and that." And I'm like, "I don't remember saying that. I'm glad you have a recording of it, you know?"
I think that's the most surprising thing to me about intuition and mediumistic abilities is this sense that it feels like you're making it up.
Yes. But you learn to trust that if it's coming out of left field and it has no logic to it and it's just showing up in your consciousness, that's from spirit, that's from higher soul. You got to say it, you know. And I've also always put out a prayer before every session or class. Only bring me the highest wisdom from the highest realms. And I don't even, I'm not open for business with negative information or anything like that. And I think you do have to sort of set your intention that way. And once you do, man, that high frequency visions of the future, all this stuff just comes in. And it's so beautiful and it helps all of us. I mean, I'm so grateful I get to be a little vehicle for it, but it's how we can all live here as vehicles for that. And, you know, Amber, you're definitely a vehicle for those kind of messages. So you got to trust it. And your book, tell us about your book again.
Oh, Science 101.
Yes.
So I think while we were in the early stages of working on this, we kind of were hearing stories and had asked for people to share their stories of their signs. And I thought, what is a book that would have helped me in early grief? And first and foremost, it would have been simple to read because I could not take in large volume. I couldn't read like a full-size book. And I also needed permission to believe that something was happening that couldn't be explained in the material world. That there were things happening because, early grief, traumatic grief, child loss, it makes you feel like you're losing your mind anyway. And,
But that's a good thing to lose our
but then
minds.
well, yeah, but then when the things start happening, lights and smoke alarms and TVs and everything, it feels like, oh yeah, I'm losing the plot here. I've really lost my mind. And I needed someone to tell me, no, you're not. Take a breath. It's okay to believe this. You can change your mind later. Here are some ways to enhance that communication, some things to recognize. And I really wrote a book that I think came out to be the book I wish somebody had slipped in my hand in the first month.
And that's so beautiful, Amber, because that's what I think our soul's work is offering to other people in pain what we wish had been offered to us in our greatest moment of pain. And that's certainly true for the work I do now. I wish someone had come along and done a session like this for me when I was 30, angry at the world about Paul and Chrissy dying and couldn't find my purpose. You know, I now offer to the world what I wish had been offered then. And Christine, I believe that your work with film and producing is doing the same thing with your loss of your brother.
100%. And I think it extends beyond that, um, beyond just Mark. It I try to live my life now being the person I wish I could have had in my corner.
Oh,
And there's so many days that new information comes into my soul, into my head, where I think to myself, oh, I have the skills. I can extend that out. I can give that story to someone else. I can tell that story. I can help someone else realize their own. I can support my best friend and in the same time get to tell my story and hear from my soul and hear from my brother and whoever else has passed who wants to come through. So I agree with that completely.
Oh, God, what an amazing conversation. Do you all have any last words you'd like to share or websites people can go to? All of that.
Well, if you want to learn more about the film, it's tragic-2-magic.com. For parents who will be at the conference, you won't be able to miss us. We'll be the ones with the cameras. We will probably be asking some parents to share some things with us, maybe some incredible signs they got, maybe something that happened to them at the conference that they were really excited about. We particularly want to hear from former skeptics who maybe came into this thinking, oh, I'll give it a shot, but it's malarkey, and had an epiphany or an awakening. So, yeah, and we'll see you, Sue. We'll get a big hug from you.
Oh, I'm so happy. And also, is there still fundraising happening for the film? And where would people go to help with that?
We have, you can find a link on the website to our Fractured Atlas, which is our fiscal sponsor. So any donations are tax deductible. That will help us continue to get the word out. The next steps for us after the conference is editing a new teaser that will be going out to distributors. So yeah, we're excited. I mean, the one that's on there is scrappy. I shot it on Zoom and edited it myself, determined to make it happen.
And it's still amazing. And it's still amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if anyone before the conference wants to connect with us, you can do so on the website as well. We'd love to hear any stories, and we can plan to meet with you, but we're excited to share that space and be part of the magic.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. We will all be part of the magic at the Helping Parents Heal conference. So thrilled to be part of that. And also so blessed that we have beloveds in spirit who love us so much that they are helping us shift our whole focus in life and fulfill our soul mission the way we wanted to when we came here. Thank you, beloveds. Thank you, Jagger. Thank you, Mark. Is that your brother's name, Mark? Thank you,
Is,
Mark.
yeah.
Thank you, Jagger. Thank you, Paul, Chrissy, Dad, everybody, Jeff, and
McKellar
my life.
Elijah.
Yes.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you all so
Thank you,
much.
Sue.
Love
Lovely meeting
you.
you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.